All right. So, welcome to Squeezeball's math and lesson. It's recording right now. Yeah, I'm going to post this one exactly as it is right now. Okay, here we go. So, hey, hey. What? It's screen recording. Okay, all right. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this nice and quick and kind of go through it in full. So, really, the first thing to point out is how did I get this 2 and 50? It's because this is essentially a constant function. So it's saying if this line continued indefinitely, it would exist where y is 50. Okay. If I look at the first handoff point of 2, then I know if I combine those two things together, that means that when x is 2, y is going to be 50. First point is done. Okay. So then let's skip down to the next guy. So the first one, I didn't really need to do a whole lot of work. The second one here, so I'll do step 2, call that step 1, is let's try and plug something in to this guy here. When I say let's try and plug something in, we're going to use this handoff point. So this guy just gets plugged in here. 50 is equal to a 2 minus 3 plus 55. So I need to find the rule, right? So step 2, find rule. Okay. So bring the 55 over. Negative 5 is equal to a negative 1. So gentlemen that didn't see this one before, now if I want to use that 1, it just becomes a positive 1. So a is equal to negative 5. I'm going to validate based on the diagram, and Cade, you mentioned this. Should my a be negative? Yes, it should, because my absolute value function is facing down. So that one should be a negative value. So what that means is step 2 is going to be step 3, let's use that rule. And what am I going to use now? I've got y is equal to negative 5 t minus 3 plus 55. So if I go back up here again, what am I looking to use now? The max, like the farthest point there, so that 3.5. So I'm going to now go and say, oh, that's an x. We're looking for, I don't know if this guy can, we're looking for a y when x is 3.5.
Would your a still be negative 5?
Yeah, why is
Yeah.
A still negative 5?
But it's the other way, right?
Well, no, because don't you have to keep it when it's in the bar, like the bar brackets, you have to keep it as a positive, right?
Inside, so the a value is still negative because the absolute value function is facing down. So when I found a is negative 5, that's the rule that it is now. Inside the brackets won't go negative.
I was thinking of when we did the 2.
When we go to solve for it, right now the a needs to be negative 5 because it's facing downward. So then now I can just go y is equal to negative 5, 0.5 plus 55. This actually shows up, yeah. It does not like doing this much at once. So, what'd you say? Exactly. So, y is equal to negative 5 times positive 0.5, right? And then y would be equal to negative, well, did you go be 52.5 because that would become negative. That's what you said. I heard that too. 52.5. Okay. So I didn't just get y is 52.5. I found that when x is 3.5, the y is 52.5. So now step 4, use a different color here as well. I'm going to go back up to the diagram. Okay. I've used this piece. I've used this piece. I won't cross it out because I'm going to want to leave this document later on. I've used this piece here. I've used this piece here. Now I'm going to look down to that rational function. So the rational function is missing its h. But I know I can use for this function right here, what was it? X is 3.5 and Y is 52.5. So 15 and 50. Yeah. Settle down. So Y is equal to 15 over T minus H plus 50. It's negative 15?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so negative 15. All right, so now that I have this, I can plug in. So again, I'm going to draw a line from here. I'm going to use that point. I'm going to use this point right here, right in there. So I'm going to plug in 52.5 is equal to negative 15. 3.5 minus h plus 50. Now all I've got to do is find that h. Okay? Really interested to see if the mic picks that up. Well, it's not just that me writing here.
Do you need our consent to be able to record us? Yeah. What if I don't?
There's no video of you guys.
Actually, no. It's only one person, one party consent in Canada, isn't it?
It's provincial. I know Ontario is one party. I don't know about Quebec. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too. If you didn't want to be a part of it, then you would have to
I didn't
sign.
get my
Yeah.
paper yet, so I don't want to be a part of this
It's fair. It's fair. Okay. Moving on. I would, to solve for this guy here, sort of. To solve for this guy here, I'd get that 50 out of the way first. 2.5 is equal to negative 15 over 3.5 minus h, right? This is just your cross multiplying now, right, Kate? This is just the cross multiplying now. So it's going to be 2.5 times 3.5 minus h is equal to negative 15. So whatever that is. Where's my
8.75.
8.75? So 8.75 minus 2.5h. Okay, gents, Morgan, you wanted to see this. So now it's just like your algebra, right? That's all this is. So bringing this guy over here now. Yeah. Negative 2.5h.
We don't usually see the coefficient.
Yeah. So then I'm going to divide that by. So. Question? Well, I'm going to. This became like, because when I did this here, I multiplied that and distributed it through both. Because it's a binomial. So when I brought up this binomial and multiplied both sides by it. So then now just divide by negative 2.5, divide by negative 2.5, and get an h of 9.5. So now let's back out just a bit. Do I got more room down there? Okay, perfect. Okay. So now that I have the 9.5, I'm going to go back up and take a look at it and say, okay, well then, what is it that I need to find out? What y is when x is 8.5. That's where you're going to make your mistakes, gentlemen, is when you go back up to it, you're like, okay, so for my next step, okay, for my next step, step 5, I want to go use the rule again, the one I just found, t minus 9.5 plus 50. And then set in negative 15. It's kind of nice because you're just solving for y's, because it's the only way this question works with the handoff. So then the x would be 8.5 minus 9.5. Right? If you go back up to the function here, I've used, last time I plugged in 3.5. This time I'm plugging in 8.5. Because we want to find the handoff point to get to the next guy. So they both share 8.5 and 8.5, right? Like when we found h is 9.5, I'm at the end of it, I found that rule, so then I can plug in that 8.5 because it's shared by both the rule I just found and the next rule I want to find.
Why are we finding 8.5 is the point is at 0?
It's in the the chart where it gives you like that's your maximum, this is your minimum of the function. Your 8.5 is your third.
Yeah, like here, how about I do this for a sec? So just really clear, like this piece is right here. This piece is right here. Okay? This piece, would you freaking work? This piece is that guy right there. That's the one that we're on right now. Right? We're still on the rat, we're not on the square root yet. Square root 1 yet. And rats, I will point out this with piecewise functions, gentlemen, focus. The rats are the weirdest because if you look at it right now, we found that the h is 9.5, yet we're going to plug in an x of 8.5. It's very weird because they don't line up pretty. Okay.
For the next one, it's the same thing where we already know what the case.
It's the same thing as what we did here. That's why when I made that question, it was the same one, and why these two lead into each other is because now that I've got this guy here, so y is equal to negative 15 over negative 1 plus 50. Y will be equal to 15 plus 50. So y will be equal to 65. So for the last, gentlemen, split it up. Split it up, gentlemen. Split it up. Move around. Let's go. I don't care that there's like 5 minutes left. Split it up. I'm not having this. Okay? Seriously, move around. Pick another spot. Cade, stay there. Or Cade, move there. Morgan, back up front. And Jeremy, somewhere else. Okay? So so at the end, I plugged in 8.5 to find a y of 65. So if you look at that last step, step 6, and I look at that last function, 26, 8.5. Right. So here, t minus 8.5 plus k. Well, because of this guy here, okay, because of this guy here, I now have the rule. T minus 8.5 plus 65. So because this was the x I was looking for, that makes this guy the k. So now what you were saying applies, Kiana, that I'm going to plug in now y is 0 and then solve for t. 8.5 plus 65, and you'll get two answers for this one, right? So bring that guy over. Negative 65 is equal to negative 26. T minus 8.5 This is going to be something ugly. So using a different color here, divide by negative 26, divide by negative 26. X is equal to 2.5. So from here, or sorry, square root t minus 8.5. So then now you're going to square both sides. And there's, this one's a little bit easier in that case. So yeah, 6.25, right? So 6.25 will be equal to t minus 8.5. And if you're wondering where that came from, that's basically just because I'm going to square this side and square this side. Okay? So then now at this stage, I can just bring that 8.5 over. T is going to be equal to 14.75. So it's 14.75 and 0. Right?